So I'm speaking with Dylan Flippo here, who's 21 years old. Dylan, how long have you been interested in off-roading?
Well, I've been interested for 3 years now.
And what really brought you to the genre of off-road driving?
Well, I originally became interested in off-roading when I moved to Colorado, and I saw it as a great way to get into the mountains and really explore this great environment that's around me.
So what does an average off-road rig look like?
So your average off-road rig is going to be, like your Jeep Wrangler, something with big tires and a lot of bumpers on it, maybe a winch on the front, a lot of ground clearance. But for me, it could be anything that suits the person's need. It needs anything that is able to get the person to where they want to go, get them out in the wilderness, get them enjoying life.
What's your main goal with off-roading?
I really enjoy the trip.
So is it more about the views for you, the experience, the driving itself, maybe throwing in some camping, being with your buddies?
I really enjoy the driving part of it. Um, I also enjoy the views that you get to see, the different terrain, um, mountain streams and lakes that you wouldn't normally see. They're just off the beaten path. Going along with friends is always a great time. Camping out for a few nights is always a great time as well.
When you off-road, do you usually go solo or are you a part of a group? What kinds of things are out there?
Well, it's more fun to go with a group. Um, the more people, the more fun, I think.
For a trip like Argentine Pass, above Georgetown, what kind of ways do you prepare for that?
Well, a trip like that is only open during the summers. During the winter, it's completely blocked off with snow. And even during the springtime, it's not wise to go up to the higher elevations of the trail without tire chains or a couple buddies to be able to pull you out.
What kind of alterations have you made to your vehicle and what are you driving?
Well, I'm driving a Nissan Xterra, and that would be what I would classify as a vehicle that allows me to get where I want to go. And so far, it's done great, and it hasn't nothing stopped me yet. I've added a few extra safety features to my rig. Um, I've added a few extra skid plates underneath the car so I don't get hung up on rocks. I've got sliders, I've got an air compressor in my engine bay that allows me to air down for a more comfortable ride and some added traction on loose and uneven surfaces. And I've also added a small light bar in the bumper that just allows me to see a little bit extra uh, in the dead of night.
So, as far as off-roading goes, what do you think a lot of people aren't aware of about the culture or about what makes a great off-roading trip?
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand the the maintenance that a lot of off-roaders actually put into the trails. In Colorado, "Stay the trail" is a really heavily used um, motto in the off-roading world, and a lot of people don't respect it. And over time, a lot of trails will get eroded because people will go off the trails, and they'll put up blockades and try to keep them on the designated path. But if they keep going off the trail, eventually trails like that will just get shut down. And it is a big problem in Colorado because a lot more trails are getting shut down more and more often because people just don't respect the land we're allowed to use and the laws that protect it.
So, you stick to the trails, you update your vehicle so it can be safe travels, you enjoy the views. What really brings you back for every trip?
I really enjoy escaping the city. I think that's the main reason I get out there. But once I'm out there, I really just enjoy being out there, being able to go where I want to go and camp where I want to camp, and just have fun with my friends and enjoy the ride and have a great time overall.
So you get that experience with something like Argentine Pass, which we got to explore together. Does that qualify as one of your greatest trips of all time, or do you have a couple in mind?
Well, Argentine Pass is a smaller trail. It's not the most difficult. I think a lot of rigs can actually do it. It's more several ledge, steep cliff ledges and a lot of switchbacks to get up to the top of Argentine Pass. And in early summer and springtime, there's a lot of snow that's sometimes impassable. But it's more of a fun trail to enjoy with friends, or just to go camping on. A trail that I would definitely say was very memorable, or all-time favorite, was the Alpine Loop. It took us 3 days to get around, and besides there being several hiking spots, hot springs along the way, beautiful mountain ranges, campsites wherever we would like, and wonderful people along the way as well. That was definitely the best trip I've ever been on.
Awesome. And what would you say is one piece of equipment for off-roading that you just can't live without?
Well, there's probably a couple. A shovel is definitely underrated. If there's snow, you can dig yourself out with a shovel. If you're even stuck in mud, you can dig out the mud. Sand works the same. Yeah, I would say a shovel is a vital tool to bring with you.
It sounds like you really keep everything on hand and are knowledgeable about your off-roading trails. So if you could just kind of walk us through, what was Argentine Pass like with that trail, and what were the most climactic parts of it?
Argentine Pass is a pretty basic trail. I think it's not the most challenging, and most climactic parts are probably just the views you get once you're at the top. It's a lot of just loose gravel, dirt road, and high clearance on your vehicle is important, and also airing your tires down is going to help your back a lot for a smoother ride. But there really aren't too many big obstacles on that trail. It's mostly just the tight switchbacks going up to the top, and the steep cliff ledges that you'll have to get used to. It's just a fun trail for all levels of drivers.
What kind of views were you seeing up there as you were driving, or were you more focused on the steering wheel?
Well, when you're going up that close of like a ledge, you really want to stay focused on the steering wheel. Like a lot of people will get into trouble real easily just by not focusing on where their tires are placed, and they could roll.
So when you're off-roading then, and you've focused and you've stayed the trail and you've gotten over shelf rocks and everything, what's the real prize at the end? Do you get to just relax by the time you reach the top?
Yeah, once you're at the top or the end, you really get to take a second and just take it all in and enjoy the moment and the scenery. At the top of Argentine Pass, there was a lot of fog, but in the break of fog, you get a little bit of light. You really see the Rocky Mountains, and you really see the beauty of the land you're in.